That was a very, very strange game. I have to admit, that was a very, very odd game to see. Like, the premise of the game in the build-up was just, it was just a very, very strange game in terms of where we were playing it, the conditions of the stadium, where it was situated, and it was just very, very peculiar, as many of these Europa League games are. And how the game panned out in the early stages kind of was how I predicted the game would pan out, and then all of a sudden it just translated into something that I didn't think was going to happen whatsoever. And it was odd. It was a very, very odd night, shall I say. But we did get a very, very good, solid, strong and decent win at the end of the day. Good performance from the boys, and obviously this competition is absolutely vital to Arsenal's season, and we end the day with the first leg concluded with a 3-0 win, taking that to the Emirates next week. And obviously, with the Carabao Cup final just 3 days ahead, we are in a position where the tie is pretty much done and dusted, and we will be looking and heading into the Europa League last 16. Welcome back to Analysing Arsenal, ladies and gentlemen. These are my thoughts and feelings to the Europa League. The Europa League has returned after Arsenal won their group in the group stages just before the turn of a brand new year. And obviously, as 2018 reaches February, we have a Europa League knockout game. The Champions League knockout stages were on Tuesday and Wednesday, and once the Champions League knockout stages have concluded, we have Europa League and Arsenal's very, very weird trip. Our round of 32, the knockout stage of the Europa League with Arsenal, begin against Östersund. I believe I'm saying that right. Please let me know down in the comment section below if there's anyone from Sweden actually watching this, and I do apologise, but I absolutely just butchered that. But we played it at, I don't really know what the stadium is called incidentally, but it was a very, very strange game. We played them in the first leg of the round of 32. We played the second leg on Thursday at the Emirates, and as I said, it was a very, very peculiar kind of place we were going to. It was basically in the middle of nowhere at a sub-zero temperature, so I think it was like -4 when the game kicked off, and it got to the point where it was like -7, -8, absolutely just frozen. Like, all around the stadium there was just snow. The entire landscape was just covered with snow, apart from this pitch, which was an artificial pitch that the snow had kind of been cleared out for the game to take off. And I think I heard somewhere that if it had got to -15, then they might have had to abandon the game because it can affect the lungs of the players who are playing on the pitch. So obviously it didn't, and -4 actually is quite warm for over there in Sweden. So absolutely just like freezing conditions, in the middle of nowhere against a team that, I'm not gonna lie, I'd never ever heard of the team until we've come up against them. And actually, I have to give real credit to Östersund and their manager and just the state of the club, because it's a great footballing story, right? They were set up and founded in 1996, the year that Arsene Wenger took over as Arsenal manager, and they spent 20 years going right from the bottom and working their way to the top of the football chain in them. So I think they went from the bottom of the Swedish league all the way up to the top, and I think they came 5th last year. They might have even won it. I'm not too sure. But whatever they did, they've got to the point where they were eligible to play in the Europa League. And as a team, they knocked out Galatasaray. They weren't walkovers. They weren't pushovers in the group stage, and they've earned themselves a place in the knockout stage against Arsenal, which is basically like a cup final to them, because I don't think in their history have ever come up against a club who has had the size and has got the reputation. I mean, Arsenal are known all around the world, maybe not for the right reasons, but we are basically known all around the world, and we are a huge club, and even though in terms of and in the context of being successful, we're kind of down the pecking order. But when you look at our history, we're right up there. I'd say we're the 3rd biggest team in the country. Man United's history just means that they're the best team in England. Then it's Liverpool with how well they did in the 80s and 90s, and then it's Arsenal. Even before Wenger took over, we were winning lots of trophies. Obviously, in modern times, Arsenal kind of declined, but there is a precedence for Arsenal being well known around everywhere. I mean, with this Analysing Arsenal series, I get people from all around the world watching Arsenal, and with the Premier League, to have a Premier League and a giant Premier League team come to your home patch, it's a great day for them. And Östersund should be really proud of what they've done to achieve this and to get this game just because of how hard they've worked to get to the Europa League, is a very, very special achievement, and they should be praised for what they've done. And as for Arsenal, we're not going to get into the top four. The top four's out of the equation. We're 8 points adrift of that top four position. There is not a hope in hell's chance that we're going to get back into the top four. So the only way we're going to get back into the Champions League, and in my opinion, the only way that we're going to get to the top of European football, a competition where we really should be. We should not be in the Europa League, and I don't mean to disrespect the competition, but we shouldn't be here. We're better. We are good enough to be in the Champions League, even though we get absolutely butchered in the last 16. And it's really nice to watch a knockout game in European competition where at the end of the first leg, we're not just in the competition, but we're actually winning the tie. On this occasion, normally it's us in this position where the tie's basically gone for Östersund, they're basically out, right? And Arsenal have had that thing in Champions League, knockout stages for the last kind of 5 or 6 years. But, for us, it's absolutely vital that we get back into the Champions League. This competition is not going to be easy because we've got some really, really tough teams in this tie. We've got Atletico Madrid, Dortmund, we've got AC Milan. It's not going to be easy, and the competition is definitely going to get tougher, but you can only beat what is ahead of you, and this was an absolutely just huge game. And if we had lost this game, our reputation, it would be something that you couldn't live down, losing to them, and no disrespect to them, Arsenal shouldn't be, getting beaten by this team. And we started the game in the best possible way. Arsene Wenger lined up with a decent squad, I have to say. Obviously, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is cup tied because he played in the Europa League for Dortmund. Alexandre Lacazette is out with a really unfortunate injury. I mean, his form has been absolutely shot to pieces. This will just add more insult to injury, and literally insult to injury. He's a really, really good player, and it's just not gone his way, and luck has just not been on his side. So we do wish him a speedy recovery. But he brought in Mesut Ozil for his first Europa League game for Arsenal. Played in the Europa League, a couple of times before. Henrik Mkhitaryan making his Europa League debut for Arsenal. Alex Iwobi, we had Maitland-Niles come in, El Neni, Moneral. We had Mustafi, no Koscielny, but we had Chambers, Bellerin and Ospina. A decent and strong side, and I think Arsene Wenger's got to take this competition seriously, because I think he knows deep down it's the only way. I mean, he said that, he's going to prioritise the Premier League over the Europa League. That is that's just bollocks. Arsene Wenger knows this is the only way we're going to get into the Champions League. And first kind of half an hour, absolutely stormed it. We dominated. I think Östersund had a little bit of starstruck, and I think the occasion just got to them, because apparently I haven't seen them play before, but they play kind of in your face. They do like to pass it out and play it out from the back, but they cause you problems, and they're not afraid to venture and get into those attacking areas to really cause you serious kinds of problems. And it took Östersund 27 minutes before they even got into our final third and registered a shot on target. We just absolutely battered them, and the 2 goals that we scored just came from their errors, trying to play out from the back. First one comes in from a corner, and their keeper was called Cater, I believe. Yeah, A. Cater. I remember that name because obviously there's a lot of Caters around. Obviously the most famous one is Naby Keita, who's going to be joining the Premier League for Liverpool. But the first goal comes from a mistake. He parries it out. Moneral was just sitting there because he's come up for the corner and then just hats it in. It's just really, really stupid and naive. It's basic play that you just get that ball clear. Anytime that ball is in the box, you clear it out, especially for a team that, we like to press. We like to press a high line, and we like to, dominate and keep the ball kind of at a constant level. And, Östersund just got pegged back. They couldn't get out. They couldn't break out. We were just pegging them back, and they were just creating so many easy and sloppy mistakes. Basic first class mistakes were coming out, and we scored the first one. Second goal literally comes from Hector Bellerin down the right hand side. He passed it into Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi goes for the shot, and he has about 5 attempts to get the shot away. It gets blocked, and then it gets hit, and he gets the shot away. And then they don't get it clear. It then falls back to Mkhitaryan. They pass it straight to Mkhitaryan on the right hand side. He goes for the shot, and it goes off the back of, I'm going to try and pronounce this name right, guys. It's Papa Aganpopoulos. So Papa Aganpopoulos. I don't know. I've absolutely, literally butchered his guy's name, but I do apologise to, let's call him Sotiris. His first name is Sotiris. Sotiris, it hits the back of Sotiris and it goes in, and it's 2-0. And you're just thinking it's going to be an easy day at the office. You think it's going to make it, we're going to get our 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th goal. It's going to be at 1 minute I thought it was going to be 7-0 to Arsenal, generally. And then all of a sudden, Östersund maybe, because they were 2-0 down, the occasion, they sort of got over those pre-match nerves, that pre-match starstruck, and, you know, thought to themselves, right, we're actually going to give Arsenal a game, and they started pressing us. They started getting into decent areas, started creating chances, and they had a couple of decisions that on another day they should have had. I mean, they got a penalty right at the end. They should have had 3 penalties today generally. Like, Mustafi was very, I mean, he should have got a yellow card early on for a challenge that he made just at the edge of the box, which if he didn't make, then Östersund would have been like basically clean through, and the referee gave it as an Arsenal free kick. Very, very peculiar and very, very strange. But it would have been one of those where, you know, Mustafi got on a challenge which he brought someone down minutes before we scored our 3rd goal in the second half, which Mesult Ozil kind of created, and I'll come on to that goal. But, you know, that should have been a penalty. Hector Bellerin's one that was actually given as a penalty, but also Callum Chambers brought one of the Östersund players down in the penalty box. So on another day, you know, Östersund would have had 3 penalties, and they had a couple of decisions that didn't go their way, and the ref certainly was on our side. And as I said, like in the second half, they created chances. It sort of became a very, very cagey affair, really. It wasn't the most entertaining game of football, but, like, you know, Östersund had a couple of chances. They got into some decent positions. They were going through the channels. They were creating space for themselves. And obviously that decision that Mustafi brings down Östersund's player in the box, it gets the referee waves play on. We got the other end, passes it into Mesult Ozil, who gave, it's a lovely bit of play, right? Alex Iwobi down the left-hand side, then he just cuts it back into Mesult Ozil, who's 1v1 with Keita, and he just slots it in for 3-0, and that was just before the hour mark. So, you know, 3-0, game was done. But Östersund created chances. Obviously, we had a couple of chances. Östersund had 10 shots, 5 on target. We had 17. We had 61% possession. We had 82% possession, like, by the 20-minute mark. But, you know, Östersund gave a good account for themselves. We were the much better team, and our quality did shine through. And, like, you can see a huge dip in the level of what Arsenal are. And, you know, Östersund, I don't think they helped themselves in the first 20 minutes. And that's why I say it was a very, very strange game, because you would have thought Arsenal would have just battered them from minute 1 to minute 90, and they woke up, and, you know, obviously, because we're away from home, the home team always has kind of a spell, but it was like the first kind of half now was all Arsenal, and then, like, the final hour of the game was kind of back and forth between Östersund and Arsenal, and, you know, they didn't really create too many clear-cut chances. I don't remember Ospina, he made a couple of saves here or there, but it wasn't one of those where I was sitting there and thinking to myself, like, oh my god, Jesus, they're going to score a couple of hairy moments here or there. But it was comfortable, it was easy in the end, but it was a peculiar game, right? A very, very peculiar game. But it's a good result for Arsenal. Obviously, with the Carabao Cup on Sunday, we can now basically rest as many players as we can, because, you know, Östersund have to score 4 goals at the Emirates, and without us actually scoring to have any chance of going through, it's not going to happen. I mean, you know, I can't see it happening. And I know there's been some mad moments in football. You know, the Barcelona moment last year, Leicester winning the Premier League title. I would be absolutely gobsmacked if, you know, Östersund get themselves even 1 goal, let alone 4 goals at the Emirates. I mean, they had a penalty in the dying minutes, a chance to maybe have something to latch on to, because, you know, winning at the Emirates by 2 goals now was much more favourable than trying to win by 4 goals now, which is what they would have to do had they got that first goal and got the goal, that the penalty. And I don't think it was a penalty. I think it was a sloth challenge. I think the 2 penalties appeals that, you know, Östersund had prior were much more clear-cut. I mean, Bellerin got a touch of the ball, but also took out the man. And did he get the man first or got the ball? I don't think it was a penalty personally. But, you know, the Östersund, I don't know who stepped up to take the Östersund penalty. It was Guerrero. So Guerrero like stepped up to take it. Or it was either Guerrero or Godos. It might have been Godos. Godos or I don't know. I don't really know. But they stood up to take it. They went left, Ospina went left, and it was just an easy penalty. They couldn't even score a penalty, and it was just one of those games. It was one of those very, very strange Europa League games that if you're, you know, switching the channels on the first night, you come across it, you'll be, after that game, watch it throughout the 90 minutes, and think to yourself, Jesus, that was a very, very weird game to watch. But get the job done in the end. You know, the Europa League is absolutely crucial. We get the 3, or we get the win that takes us in touch the difference of the round of 16. The Europa League is going to get much more tougher, but Arsene Wenger is playing a mixture of, you know, youth and experience. I think it's going to get to a stage where you just have to play his strongest team, particularly if we come up against the Dortmund, AC Milan, and Athletic Madrid. But we've got a chance. We've got a big, big chance in this Europa League, and, you know, so far we're going about it the right way. We've got ourselves a good win. You know, we've got no football this weekend because we're out of the FA Cup. Our next game is this time next Thursday against Östersund, and then we've got Manchester City. I mean, that is actually 2 really big games. I mean, as I say, if we can win the Europa League and the Carabao Cup, despite all of the negativity and hostility this season, it will be a step in the right direction. Saturday was a little bit of a drawback, and you know, we were back to kind of square one in terms of the Premier League, you know, getting those new signings, you know, and just I was so hurting, you know, losing the North London derby. It just was so painful, but back to winning ways. Our first away win of 2018, which is good to see. And yeah, the result is done. The tie is almost, you know, complete. You know, there's a 1% chance that, you know, Östersund could cause us a real problem at the Emirates. I can't see it. I think the tie is wrapped up, and we can look ahead to the round of 16. Whoever we get, this competition is get a lot more trickier. But we are going about it the right way as well. I just want to say credit to Östersund, you know, what they've done, their history, their heritage to get into this position. Fair play to them, but in the end, our quality shined through. I'm going to leave Analyse Arsenal there for you guys today. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Absolutely love doing this series as ever. The support that you guys showed to the series is absolutely brilliant as well, so thank you so much for that. Please make sure to leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed this. Subscribe channel if you're new around here, and check out my other content as well. Also want to say thank you for the support that you showed on my Valentine's Day special. You guys absolutely smashed that. I love that podcast. The feedback that I've got from that has been absolutely brilliant, as has my Fortnite video. Going to be doing more Fortnite videos as well. And I will rejoin you next Thursday at the Emirates as Arsenal play Östersund before I preview the Carabao Cup final 2018 between Arsenal and Manchester City. So exciting times ahead, and we are almost in touch with the difference of the Europa League last 16 encounter. This is Egypt signing out. Until next time, take care, and I shall speak to you later. Come on, you Gunners.